ladies and gentlemen, I am joined today by two gentlemen from Arcadia Minerals, and they are going to introduce themselves because A, they have very complicated names, but B, they've got amazing titles that I really don't want to mess up. So gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Why don't you introduce yourself and have a chat about what it is that you guys do?
Okay, let me quickly say I'm the executive chairman. I'm an explorer, as Phil is. He can introduce himself. We've been exploring for the last 25 years and have also developed mines in Africa, notably South Africa, and discovered projects that are today in production.
Very good, very good. And you good, sir?
Yeah. I'm Phillip Le Roux. I'm the CEO of the company, and I'm a geologist from background.
Mm-hmm.
And Jurie and myself started Arcadia Minerals about 3 years ago when we looked at new projects in Namibia. So the portfolio of Arcadia Minerals is related to projects that's in Namibia.
Perfect. So you guys are both, one's a miner and one's a geologist, okay? And you've started up this company called Arcadia Minerals, which is about to be listed on the exchange. All going according to plan. It should be listed this Thursday, which for our viewers, which they're viewing it on Friday, will be yesterday. So it should be live today. And we can, of course, with our panel, look at what the charts have done and sort of see that. But are you guys excited?
Oh, absolutely. Just a correction. I'm more a lawyer than I'm a miner. But I do. Obviously, that's the ultimate goal, is to become a miner.
Okay, perfect.
But then, okay, yes. So the listing, yes, we're very excited about it because it gives us the capital that we require to develop our core assets.
Yes.
The first one is a tantalum project that has got the potential to be a early cash flow generator.
Perfect.
And also has got the potential to underpin the value of the entire company, because the other projects, which are nickel,
yes,
lithium and brines, and copper and gold, are all exploration assets with the usual risk involved with exploration.
I think it's amazing. I mean, lithium is a very hot topic right now because of the electric car battery space. Nickel and copper. I mean, copper's at a multi-year high, 10-year high at the moment. We're trading close to 10,000. Is that correct? 10,000 US a ton. Is that correct? Around about that?
Yeah, that's about correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are quite prevalent spaces, and I've heard from my own research that most copper mines are actually quite profitable above 6,000 US metric a ton. So at 10,000, you could be saying that this is quite an attractive venture moving forward, provided that everything's sort of moving in the right direction. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yes, I would say that's correct. And our copper asset is also, it's really just been some, the Germans mined the deposit in the 1940s, just a small little open cast area. So we quite, we have some gold associated with the copper as well, in the order of 0.5 gram to 1 gram gold, but it's still early stage exploration. But we identified a target area of about 21 kilometers, that's about 2 kilometers wide. Okay. We have old workings on both ends of this this structure, and some mineralization in between. So we're quite positive that there could be a potential copper gold deposit in that area, could be identified with decent exploration activities going forward.
Perfect. So you're doing exploration at the moment, okay? But in the effort to start mining, and you've got some very high hopes that you've already found some good sort of deposits, and we could see some good profits to be coming from those. Is that correct?
Yes, the tantalite is at that stage where we already done quite a bit of drilling on it. We will move into a second phase of drilling program after the funds, after we raise the funds. And then we will go into a feasibility study. Yes. So the tantalite project is quite far advanced. We have a very high grade that we drilled out so far. We haven't bring out the resource statement yet because we want to complete the second phase of drilling. But we're quite positive that that deposit, as it stands at the moment, is one of the higher grade tantalite deposits in the world. And based on that, there's a good chance that that would develop into a mine in the short term.
Very
It
good.
would be a smaller mine with a low capex of anything between 10 to 15 million dollars to develop the mine. So it's not going to be a big capex, but it should be quite a profitable mine due to the high grades that we intersected so far in our drilling in the first phase of the drilling campaign.
Perfect. So for our investors, for our viewers watching, obviously something is listing on the exchange, pretty high hopes, looking quite attractive morning there. But let's just rewind for a second and let's go to the actual governance. So the two gentlemen that are running the shop, which you're going to talk to us about today, whereabouts do you two both come from? What's your backgrounds? Because a lot of people don't so much buy the companies, they buy the people that are running the companies because they feel that good governance and good stewardship is very, very important. So tell us a little bit about how you guys got involved in this sort of venture.
Well, I think you must go first and then I'll say something.
Okay, yeah. As I said, I'm a geologist from background, so I was involved in really starting my career in the South African gold mines, and then after that became involved in exploration throughout Africa. Really worked in quite a lot of commodities through Africa. I also worked at the Industrial Development Corporation for about 4 years as an analyst, and that gave me sort of the background to combine the finance part with the geology part, and I think that's quite important. So I learned quite a lot there on the financial aspects. And then Jurie and myself met about 16 years ago, and we on and off were doing some projects, but it's really the last 3-4 years that we combined our skills to move forward. So I will be looking after the technical part and skills of the project. We have a team in Namibia at the moment of geologists that's doing work, and I'm managing them. And then Jurie, because of his legal background, etc., will look into the corporate side. And I think it's a good combination between the two of us. And yeah, we're working very close together on a daily basis. So he's sitting in South Africa at the moment, and I'm in Namibia.
Oh, very good. Jurie, how did you get involved in this sort of thing? What's your background originally? You said that you were law by trade, more lawyer, sort of lawyer turned miner by the sounds of it.
Yes, well, everything starts with the law in exploration. You have to have a license. If you don't have the license, you can't work the ground. In fact, Phillip and I have a company called Lex Rocks. The Lex is me and the Rocks is him, not being disregarding to the funny quality of the way I became involved with this was as a minerals lawyer in 1996-7, and then that just mushroomed into listing a company on the alternative investment market of the London Stock Exchange called Goldstone Resources that explored for gold in South America, then moved across into Africa, into West Africa in particular, and today that company has got a mine called the Omase mine just north of Obuasi, the Obuasi mine of Anglo Gold Ashanti, which is a deposit that was developed by the company when I was CEO. And then I also were involved with exploration in South Africa, notably vanadium and chrome.
Yes.
There's a JSE listed company called Bauba, or BAUBA, Bauba Resources. It's got a mine there. So I've been involved with the mining operation. It's now underground, mining about 35,000 tons of chrome products per month. And then Vanadium Resources, which is an ASX company under the symbol VR8. So I've been involved with that company for about 12 or 13 years. So Arcadia is my fourth arrow in my quiver as far as public companies goes. But as Phil mentioned, we've got other projects as well that's private, and we are in essence explorers and love to make discoveries and make them work.
Wow, you guys are so much experience. That's unbelievable. Very, very broad, diverse range, and sounds like you guys have been around the block a couple of times in terms of your listing, your companies, in terms of your own exploration, etc. I have to ask the question, you're obviously both overseas right now. Why listing on the ASX? Is there something particular about the ASX which is appealing at the moment?
The most important thing on the ASX is that the Australian investor is much more erudite in exploration and mining than I've seen in any other exchange. I've been, as I said, involved with London on AIM and with the JSE, and the ordinary retail investor in Australia understands mining much better, is much more interested in it, and I think because of the environment that the ASX has created, you do not get the bad parts of exploration where there are people who unfortunately distribute information that is not always 100% correct, which then taints us explorers who are serious with a brush that's unwarranted, and that's why the ASX is so much more a consistent market, and it's also vibrant in that respect, and that's why we went to the ASX.
So we are, like, I talk a lot in the firm, we do a lot of investing in the ASX 200 and the ASX 300. So these are your big mining corporations, you know, BHP, etc., Saracen Minerals, now it's merged, of course, with Northern Star, etc., a lot of these big gold players. If you were to liken Arcadia to one other business on the ASX, which is a little bit larger cap, which one do you think it's the most similar to? Maybe Phillip.
Yeah, as I said, we got a diversity of commodities we're looking at. So it's difficult to say which one we would be compared to, because it's also early stage exploration. But some of the Australian companies that has involvement in the lithium projects in South America, I think if our lithium project comes off, we could be compared to them, but it's still early stage as well. But I would say our focus is really where we maybe have a bit of a different focus to some of the other juniors, is that we're quite positive that our tantalite operation will become a mine that will underpin our company. And although it will be a small mine, it could be quite profitable. So, and then that will generate enough cash for us to carry on with our exploration activities and maybe even expand. As we said, we're also looking at some additional project at the moment in Namibia.
So at this stage, it really is sky's the limits. You've got, there's so much capacity out there. And from what I'm saying, that you think you've got a good mine that's got high quality materials in there, and that I suppose can be mined just because it's like, here's the simple fact is, just because things are bigger doesn't mean they're better. Sometimes smaller, more concentrated is a lot better. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think what we always try to do is we go for the principle that grade is king.
Grade is
so
king.
If you have the highest grade material, you could have a small operation, but you could still be very, very profitable. And so we try to go for the deposits like the tantalite, where we know it's, although it's a small deposit, it's some of the highest grade in the world, and that will really grade is always king. You could produce much cheaper than your competitors, and that makes it worthwhile looking into the smaller deposits that's very high grade.
Very good. Phillip.
And of course, the capex is also much lower to build these smaller operations, high grade. And they could be quite profitable in our opinion. So that's something we are targeting.
Very good, crystal clear. Phillip, Jurie, I'm gonna finish off with yourself, Jurie. Just talk to us about what the vision, what's gonna make you guys different, what's gonna make you a global powerhouse in this sort of mining space. Why do you think that the prospects for your mine are better than anyone else, and why do you think this Arcadia could do really, really well into the future?
Well, the trajectory of Arcadia is going to be one of two ways. As we said, one way is that we think that, and that's assuming that the tantalum will be what we think it is. The tantalum will then be a generator of cash for us to explore elsewhere in Africa, wherever our skills lie. So that's one way it can go. And assuming then also at the same time that we do not make the discoveries that we think we will be making. So it will, the shareholder value will always be underpinned by the tantalum. Another way of looking at it is that we have the tantalum providing funding to us, and therefore also a barrier against dilution for shareholders. But then at the same time, one or two of these projects come off. Now, to give you an idea, the lithium in brines, we are in a place in the world where we don't have any brine lithium deposits in Africa. There's nowhere something like it, but we're at the same latitude and that the lithium triangle is. We have got all the traits that's needed for a lithium brine acid to be present. We have, for instance, the right, let me just go and quickly through that. Phil can give you a much better running down of that, but we have a source of it. We have an arid climate. We have a basin. We have high geothermal activity. We have deep-seated faults, and we have got boron-rich clay pans and lithium-rich clay pans. The only part that we haven't proven yet is are there lithium in the brines? And for some reason, well, then Phil has fallen off now. But for some reason, that has never been tested in the past. So we've acquired the land package. And if there's lithium in the brines, then we've got something very similar to what is in the lithium triangle, which is obviously significant. I'm not going to suggest how big it is, but that is obviously a new province that was discovered. And similarly with the nickel project that we have, it has got in the disseminated part of the acid, it has got high grades compared to, it's not exponentially high, but it would be very interesting. It shows that there's nickel in the system, 0.5% of nickel and 0.5% of copper over at least 30 meters, more than 30 meters, and from surface, which is really indicative of what could possibly go on. We are not focusing, although, on that disseminated part of the nickel. We are focusing on the massive sulfides of it, which has got which one could say is the focus of our work, because it's magmatic hosted, and we think it's nickel, copper, and PGE sulfides. Phil is actually the person that could explain to you much more about that, but those are the two ways that we are thinking this thing could develop. The one way is things just doesn't go well with us with exploration, but we have a tantalum mine. And again, I'm just cautioning your viewers that we are not saying that it is there yet. We have to continue with our studies, but our impression is that that's going to be a mine, subject to everything else happening. Then on the other side, we have this possibility of actually making major discoveries that can completely transform the fortunes of this company. And so it's an exploration company with a twist. It doesn't have all the downsides of exploration, because the value is underpinned by the tantalum prospect.
Very good. Gentlemen, unfortunately, we have run out of time. Thank you so much for joining me today. I think that's a fantastic company. I think the prospects for Arcadia look very, very bright. I think all of our investors, all of our viewers should keep an eye out for that. That is going to be listing on the exchange this week as well. And I want to say big, big thank you to Phil and Jurie for coming on to the show. We're going to go back to the studio right now.